All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to today's session. Most of us have been part of this program before now. Yeah, been from the very onset when we started with introduction to Microsoft 365, and then we talked about Exchange Online. Now we are in the SharePoint Online series. And we've had the part 1 already. We also had the interactive section. Right, so today we would continue with the part 2. Right, please, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, can see your screen.
Okay, so once again, I would say you're all welcome to the Microsoft 365 Nigerian community. So today, I'll be a moderator, as you all know. And if you don't know, my name is Joshua Adigun. I am a Microsoft certified trainer, and I've been involved in this project from the very start. So I'll be the one anchoring today's session as a moderator. And this is what we'll be talking about today: introduction to SharePoint Online Part 2. And then Nyore will be our speaker. Nyore is a SharePoint Online and OneDrive for Business subject matter expert. Right, so she has a very wide knowledge, experience, and yeah, basically around SharePoint Online and OneDrive for Business. So she'll be the one taking us through the part 2 session today. She loves everything SharePoint and OneDrive for Business. So everything from the very beginning, from beginners to advanced, right? She loves everything around that, and she's well versed in that area, or in those areas rather. And then she's also willing to assist, ready to work, and she's also a very good team player. So, you're welcome to this session. And guys, I would love us to ensure we pay maximum attention because she'll be showing us and telling us a lot. Some things you might not know about SharePoint and OneDrive, or some things you think you know, however, you don't know it the way you should be telling us. So please let's give our maximum attention to this session, right? And then I'll also talk about our organizer, Olajumoke Toriola. So you all know her. She has been um, part of this program from the very onset, and she has always been available on all the calls, all the sessions. So she's an MVP, right? And then she's a granny in the IT sector, right? Across all sessions of IT, basically. So thank you very much, Olajumoke. And we also have some other leaders of the Microsoft 365 Nigerian community here. Recognize them. Itoji Emmanuel, Solomon Jeremiah, and then we have Adigun and others too, Deji and others too. So thank you very much. So yeah, please, I would like us to know that we have some housekeeping rules. The session will be recorded and will be made available for future viewings, right? As we all know, the other ones have been made available, and it's also on our YouTube channel. So you can do well to go through the YouTube channel, which is here at the bottom, and then try to go through the sessions we had previously to have the basics of what we are doing actually, and whichever technology you have interest in. So please let's ensure that all our mics and microphones are mute when you're not talking, and please do not unmute your microphone to talk when you're not asked to. this. So until you are called upon to speak, please do not unmute. And then you can pin down your questions until during the Q&A sessions. So this is for us to ensure that everything is done particular. So thank you very much. So I'll hand over to Rena. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Please let me know if you can hear me, and at any point, if you don't hear me, please also let me know. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead to share my screen. I think I'll just share my entire screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I'm just going to go through the slides that I have, and then we would go into practical aspects of this. So we're going to be talking about site creation, soft sites. We're going to do more deep dive on permissions. We're going to go into site content and versioning, and so creation of sites is as easy as just clicking on a button and giving the name that you want, just like you want to create a folder on your computer. Something as easy as that. So when we're talking about site creation, we have different types of.
Go buy meat from.
We have different types of templates that we can create from site creation. We would look at that as well. We have team sites, communication sites, a document center sites, enterprise wiki, publishing portals. So basically, these templates just allows you to be able to organize your sites better, or to give you a better interface of how you want your site to be. Sometimes when I explain SharePoint to people, I say SharePoint is like a website, but internal to your organization. So it's basically an intranet for people in your organization. So it's a website, but not for everybody, but just for people in your organization. So you create it the way you want it to be, just like saying that I want to create a website and I want it to do this, I want it to do that. Same way you can have for your SharePoint site for your organization, and you decide how you want it to be. So we'll talk about permissions, how users can share, and how you can restrict access to sites and contents that you have in the site. We would also talk about site content. We'll talk about versioning as well. And then we can have questions and all of that. So when you're in your SharePoint admin center, you go to your, when you're in your Office 365 admin center, you can go straight into the SharePoint admin center, and you see where you have active sites. And like I said, creating of sites is easy. You see the option that says create sites. So the default sites that you have listed here are the team sites and the communication sites. Like I earlier stated, we have other types of sites that you might want to create. So in your free time, you can go ahead to create a team site, you can create a communication site, and you can create other types of sites just to see how they look like, how the interface looks like, and how they differ from each other. So if you're not creating a team site or a communication site, you see the option that says other options. You can click on it. You click on the drop down. You can create a document center site. You can create an enterprise wiki, publishing portal, content center, and you can even say more templates. And it should take you to a classic interface that shows you kind of the same features, but this has a classic team site experience. So after this class, I think I would like you to, go to your SharePoint Admin Center and create the different types of sites so that you see how they look like, you see the interface, and you see how you can create your different sites and which one you think works better for you. Also, for creating a site, you can just go to the SharePoint app from here, and should be going to, so there's an option that says create site and create news post from here as well. I think I have disabled this feature because I don't want users in my organization to be able to just create sites how they like, or anytime they feel like creating sites. I want me as just the admin to be able to create sites. So I can go here. Let's see. So if you go to your settings option, you should see the option that says site creation. If I click on this, users can create SharePoint sites. Show the options to create a site in SharePoint and create a shared library in OneDrive. So if I say save, it takes some time. So you see the button that we couldn't see here is now enabled, right? But I want to take this off because I don't want users because if you are a user, you're not an admin, you can see this SharePoint option under your apps. And if you click on SharePoint and you see the option to create sites, anybody can just create sites and create too many sites, which I don't want. So that's why I come here under settings, site creation, and I uncheck the option to let users create sites, and I save. So today we're going to create a team site, and I can just say M365 series as the name of the site. If I had a site that was already named this, it will give me an error. So let's try. I know I have a site that is named test it. So you see, it says that there's another group with the same name that already exists. So I can't create the same type of site anymore because I already have that. So I would say M365 series. So I'm supposed to give this site an owner. I would use myself as an owner. I can add another user that I want to. And then also you can click on advanced settings, and so imagine that we don't speak English and we're trying to create sites. So you can create sites in other different languages, or imagine that your organization has a branch that doesn't speak English in a different country and you want to create a SharePoint site for them. You can create a SharePoint site in French. You can create it in other languages depending on what you want. So at this point, we're going to speak English because we speak and understand English. So I would say next. I can either add members from here, or I prefer not to do that. I just finish creating the site and then go into the site. So from here, I can just search for the sites that I just created, which is this, and I go into the site. So basically, this is how a team site looks like. From here, we said site creation, we're done with that. Site template, I already explained that. And also, Microsoft had gone ahead to create several other templates that will be easier for users to create templates that they need. So for example, I just finished creating this site, and it gives me this option to say start designing your site. And I can click on browse templates. So I click on browse templates, and I have several other different templates that I can choose from. So for example, I want to create a crisis communication team site, or a team, an employee onboarding team, event planning, IT help desk, project management, retail, different types of sites. These sites are already pre-created or pre-designed for you to easily create your SharePoint site for your organization. So for example, your organization says, we want you to create an employee onboarding team site. And if you click on select template, this employee onboarding team site already has predefined templates that you would need, things that basically an organization need for an onboarding team. IT service desk or IT help desk. It has details that an organization would ordinarily need to have a help desk. So all the contents that you need. So instead of you going ahead to think of what you want to do, you go ahead and click a team site from here. All you need to do is to change the pictures, change the contents, and all of that. So it's way easier for you. So you can then add or remove from this. So I've mentioned that you should create different types of sites to see what they look like. And then you can go ahead after creating that site. You can choose a template you need, maybe an employee onboarding site or an event planning site, and just go through it and see how easy it is for you to, just change the content and all of that. So you close this. So for example, you missed the opportunity for that window that just came out. You can also click on this site settings here. This is called the settings icon. You can see it named there, settings, and you can click on apply a site template. You should get the same option that we just left. Okay, so I think that is that. We'll go ahead to talk about permissions. So I will go back into my site. So again, we'll go into click on the settings icon from here. Most things that you might want to do in SharePoint come from this settings icon. From here, you can navigate into any part of the site that you want to work on. So from here, you can click on site permissions. Something you should know, we have three default permission when a site is created. I think I listed that somewhere here. Oh, I must have removed it. Okay, anyways, going ahead. We have three default site permissions when a site is created. We have full control, we have edit permission, we have visitors. Sorry, full control, edit, and read only. Let me just go into manage permission, advanced permission settings. So when you create a site, 3 default groups are created with 3 default permissions. So you have full control, you have edit, and you have the read permission. The full control is always known as the owners group. The edit permission is always known as the members, and then the read permission is always known as the visitors. So it basically makes it easier for you to just grant access to users. So if you want someone to have full control on the site, and it basically organizes your permission levels. So instead of granting permission here, let me grant permission to a user and just share. If I refresh this page, it's not here. Okay. So you see, I granted permission to Adam Smith, and it is in here because it is a member group, or it is an edit permission. So basically, whatever you create will stay in here. So I can also come here if I say grant permission and click on show options. I can click on the drop down here and then grant whatever permission that I need. I can decide to send an invitation. If I send you a link and send you access to a site or a document or any of that, I can decide to say, okay, send you a notification or do not send you a notification. Also, apart from these 3 default groups that are here, I can decide to say I want to create a custom permission, and I can say permission levels. You can click on permission levels, and you can say add a permission level. Then I can say I want users to be able to edit but not delete, so that it's easier for me to understand the type of permission that I created. Because if I just come here and say, oh, I want to create a permission, I just want to give it any name, maybe a name that I like, and I say, okay, go permission, and I create the type of site. If someone else comes into this site tomorrow, they might not understand, or they would not even understand what type of permission this is. So it's best to give it a name. Or if you want to give it maybe a name that you think is fine, you can as well come to the description and then explain better what the type of permission is, right? So I can say edit but not delete. I already have something like that. And you can come down here and select what you want this permission to do. So I can just select all, which is full control, and I can say, okay, don't delete items, and I want to check everything that has to do with delete from here. Just want to check everything that has to do with delete, and then create. So you can also, play around the permissions, create different types of permission levels, and see how they work. So if I say I give user a full control, it means that I have given the user full control on the whole site. Whatever I create on the site, the user is able to access, the user is able to delete, the user is able to share and do all of that. If I give user an edit permission, you are not able to do everything that a user with full control can do, but you can do most of these things. You can edit, you can add, you can share, but you might not be able to delete a site, you might not be able to delete some other things that you don't have permission to. If I give a user read access on the whole site, the user is able to only read. You cannot create, you cannot edit, but you should be able to download. So this read can be, you see how it is described here. Like I said, if you are creating a permission, you should give it a description to explain what that permission does. For this full control, you see that it has full control. You can do anything on the site. So it basically, permission levels, when you come here, it basically lists the types of permission and what those permissions can do. So right now, I'm sure we have tried creating a site. You know how to create a site now. You have different types of templates when you're about to create a site, and you can choose different options for site templates for the type of site you want to create in your organization. And we've also gone ahead to show you the 3 default permission levels that you have when you create a SharePoint site. And I've also gone ahead to show you how to create a unique permission or a custom permission, like we usually call it, to create a type of permission that you need. So we're still going to be talking about permissions. Okay, so this is another permission level that I want to show to you. So we'll go back to home. Like I said, you go from the settings icon, you can go into any part of the site and do different settings. So if I come back here to click on the settings icon and I come to site permission, there's an option here that says change how members can share, right? So the default settings that comes with says site owners, members can share files, folders, and the sites. People with edit permission can share files and folders. So I can decide to say, no, I don't want site members, or I don't want site owners to, site members and owners to be able to share files or folders or share the site. So I can say site owners and members and people with edit permission can share files and folders, but only site owners can share sites. So I can say, okay, I want members to be able to share folders and share files in the site, but I do not want them to be able to share the whole of the site. I can click on this one. So it's a less restrictive permission. Then I can also come here and say, okay, I want only site owners to share files, to share folders, and also share the site. So if I click on this and I say save, remember I already said if I give you an edit permission, you should be able to share files and share folders. But because I have enabled this option, if you had the edit permission, you wouldn't be able to share any file or any folder, right? So I've given you access to be able to edit, to do anything. But if you're trying to share a file, you are not going to be able to share a file because I have restricted the access for you to share the folder or to share the file. Okay, so this permission overrides the edit permission that normally allows you to be able to share. And I can close this. So let's check. Okay. Okay, so that is that, which this is. So we're going to go ahead to go to site content. So we're going to go to site content, and from there we would create some content in a document library, and then we can really do a practical on how permissions work internally. So back to the site. Where is my site? So from here, I can go into site content from here. I can also go into site content from here. So let's go into site content from here. Hold on. I would go back. So basically, these options that you see here, these are called navigations. So basically, you're navigating into a content of the site or going into a different parts of your site. So these are called navigation, and this navigation here is called the quick launch because instead of you to go into settings and then go here, once you're in the site, this is called the quick launch, and you can easily just click on this and go into site content. So in your site content, you have this option that says new. At the beginning of the session, I said we're going to be talking about site creation and sub-site creation. So from site content, you can create a sub-site. So basically, a sub-site is a child of a site. So it's basically a site inside a site. So let's click on sub-site. Let's create a sub-site first, and then we'll come back to the document libraries. So if I click on sub-sites, I can say M365 SharePoint section. So I can say, okay, I'm creating a theme site. These are the sites that you can create. You can have other templates that you created. So I'm giving it M365 SharePoint. So I have to give it a name here as well. And give it the same name, URL. So I can say I want it to use the same permission as the parent site, which is the M365 series that we earlier created. And display sites on the quick launch of the parent site, no. I just told you what the quick launch is, so I'm sure you understand what this says. So I don't want it to show in the, okay, let's say yes and see what we have. Display the site on the top link of the parent site. Yes, this is the top link. So let's create. So basically, I have created a site inside another site. As you can see, it looks like the same site that we have created, right? That we created earlier. But this site is a site inside another site. So if you look at this, this is the URL of the site. I can decide to clear this and then go into the site that we had earlier created. Okay, remember the option that we enabled to say show the sub-site in the quick launch. This is it. As you can see, we have the option of sub-site here, and we can click on it and we can see the sub-site that we had created. We also chose an option to allow the sub-site to show at the top of the site. This is it here. If you click on it, it takes you into the sub-site that we have created. So basically, this is what a sub-site is, a site inside of a site, right? So you can create different sub-sites inside a SharePoint site. So it's basically the site is the parent and the sub-site is the child of the site. So back into our main site, we now know how to create a sub-site and we know what the quick launch is. This is it. So we'll go back into site content. So going into site content, we can click on new again. You can create a list, you can create a page, you can create a document library, you can create a subset. So basically, I would say a list is, how do I put a list? Okay, let's create a list. And so I'll say a list is, as it states, you can use it to organize and basically document processes or state events. You can use it as a tracker and you can use it, yeah, so basically I can say it's a tracker and you can use it to keep information and list of what you need. So for a list, we also have different types of templates, just like the SharePoint site has templates. So you can, in a list, you can have, so let's say you want to create an issue tracker. You already have a template for issue tracking, employee onboarding, event itinerary, asset manager, tracking, recruitment tracker, travel request, work progress request, scheduler. So basically, I would say a list is a tracker or a scheduler or a list as it states. So at this point, I'll just create a blank list. You can also go ahead later to see how the different type of lists work. Okay, we'll create a blank list and we'll create an issue tracker. So you see the difference. So let's say test one. We can give it a description, a tracker, if you need it to be. So do I want it to show inside navigation? No, I don't want my navigation to be too cloudy, but you can decide to have it there. I want to check this and say create. So this is basically a list. I'll add a column, let's say choice column. I won't go deep into talking about column today. Maybe in our next session, we can go and tell you what the different types of columns that we might have. So let's just say session. So basically, this is what a list is. Let's say, for example, you want to keep an inventory of users in your organization. So you can just do this and say, let's say Smith is the person's name, and then what department the person is. Let's say I have 3 types of departments in my organization: choice 1, choice 2, choice 3. I can then say choice 1, he's in choice 1 department, and I can save. So basically, this is a brief description of what a list actually is. So going back to site content, next thing we're going to do is to create a document library. So a document library, I would say a document library is a collection of, I would just say it's a collection of documents that allows for collaboration with different users. So basically, I can create a document library in my organization for, let's say, HR group or accounts, the accounting department, and I want everybody in the accounting department to be able to come there and make changes to documents that we have. So let's create a new document library, and say accounting. So I create. So this is a document library called accounting. I can say new, and then I can say salary. This is a folder. I have created a folder called salary. Then let's say I go into this folder and I'll create an Excel sheet. Yeah, let's create an Excel sheet. So I can say June salary as the name of the Excel sheet. Sorry, I think I have a label. Okay, I've created a document library and I've created a content in it. So you see, I can, in this folder, I can create a Word document, I can create an Excel document, a PowerPoint document, and all of that. I can also add a template. If I say I want to add a template here, right? Instead of saying just this, I can add a template, and maybe I already have a Word document that is already created for my organization, and I want that anytime we go in there, that's the document that we see. I can, let's see. Okay, let's just do this. So my template has been uploaded. If I come here to click on new, you see that there's a new addition here, right? So you can add a template on this. If I say edit menu, I can decide to edit menu, and I can uncheck everything here because I want users to come into this document library and see only this template that I have added, 2 days in traffic. So I can uncheck all of this. So I leave this and I leave folder and I say save. So you see now, when you come here, I only have the option for folder and I only have the option for 2 days in traffic. So while you're making every of these changes, you should remember where you have made the changes from, because sometimes maybe you have done this and it's the first time you're using this feature, and you come here, you want to create a Word document or a PowerPoint document, and you don't see any of this. Chances are you might have, while you're doing a test, you might have come here to uncheck all of this. So you can go back and check them and then save back. So that is that for lists, libraries, and so let's go back into permission. So I have this document library that I have created, right? I don't want to share the whole site. I don't want to share the whole site to users. I want to share just the document library to people in accounting, right? So I have come to site content. I already created a document library for people in accounting. So I click on this and I see settings, and I can go to permission for this document library. Okay. So before we do that, I will come back to site contents. From here, you can see that we have several document libraries, but these were created by default because these are contents that are already stored in here by default when the site is getting created. Just give me a minute. Okay, so let's say I'm already inside accounting document library. I can also go into sites into the library settings from here. So I can click on the settings icon and I can say library settings and then more library settings. And I see the option for permission for this document library. Okay, so when I come in here, okay, something else. So remember when we're trying to create the subsite, you saw where it says the subsite should use the permission from the parent site. So the same goes into every document library, right? As you can see here, it says this library inherits permission from its parent. The parent here is this site that we have created, which is the M365 series. Okay, so we can say, okay, we don't want it to inherit permission from the site because I don't want every user that has access to the site to be able to have access to accounting, because accounting is a different department on its own. Not all users are supposed to go into the accounting document library, because I don't want you to go and see someone else's salary and say, oh, you're paying this person more than me, you're not paying this person this and that. So it's just supposed to be access for only accounting departments. So they are the ones that should be able to have access to it, them and only them. So to do that, you say stop inheriting permission from the site. So you click on this and you say, okay, at this point, they no longer have access to this site. So for me, what I usually do to be safe, I just come in here and I remove this. So like I said, we already stopped inheriting permission. So I just delete that to make sure that, okay, at this point, nobody has access to this document library. So I am only doing that because I have stopped inheriting permission. Please and please, if you have not stopped inheriting permission, do not delete the permissions from here, because it is inheriting permission. Once you do that, it deletes the permission from the whole site, and then we're in trouble because you have removed permission from everybody in the organization, and you have deleted the default permission groups, which you shouldn't delete at all. So let me show you example of what I mean. So this is the default document library that was created. If I go into library settings and I come to more library settings, I go to permission for this document library, you see that those default groups are still there, because I didn't delete it before stopping the inheritance from the other document library. You see, everything is still intact. Okay, so I go back into accounting and I go back into library settings, more library settings, and then I go to permission for this document library, and I can grant access to let me see. This is a user in my tenant, and you see this option that says share everything in this folder, even items with unique permissions. So let's just say I have granted access to this document library to administrator, so he has access to everything in my document library in accounting only. So I click on share. Okay, so if we come here, this option is to check for permission for people that have access to this site. So let me check for permissions. Remember at the beginning, I added Adam Smith as a member of this site. So before we stopped inheriting the permission, he should have access to this. So because we have removed permission, let's see if he still has access to this. He shouldn't. So you can see that it says none because we stopped inheriting the permission on the document library. But for administrator should have permission because we just granted access to administrator on this document library. You see this, it shows the administrator has access to the document library. Okay, so let's go back into this. So we have granted access to the whole document library. Okay, so we can go ahead to say, let's create another folder to say, what else do people in accounting do? I hope everyone can still hear me, please, just to confirm.
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you. So I can say, okay, in accounting, let's say we want to do end of year party and we want to give some funds to people, and we are going to use some funds to do our end of year party. So I want only one person again to have access to this folder. I don't want everybody in accounting to have access to this folder, even if they have access to accounting. So in this folder again, I can click on this and say manage access, right? And then I can go to advanced. So you see the administrator has access to this document library, but I want to go to advanced, and then administrator has access here, but I don't want him to have access here. I only want somebody else to have access on this. So I will stop inheriting permission again for just this folder, okay? And let's check for permissions for administrator now. Let's see. Okay, so it still does. So like I said, to be safe, I want to remove this so that my permissions are as restricted as possible. So you see, he has no permission in this folder. Okay, so I can then go ahead to grant permission to, let's say I want to grant permission for Adam Smith only, and then I will share. So basically, I have granted, what it means is that I have granted administrator permission on this whole document library, right? So in this case, administrator has access to everything in this document library except end of the year party. Sorry, end of the year. And I can also go in to say, okay, I have granted just Adam Smith access to just this folder. But inside this folder, I want only another user to have access to just this file. You can also go ahead to restrict the permissions again, just like I did earlier, advanced. I stop inheriting permission and all of that. So you can actually do a lot to permission. You can restrict access as much as you want and so on. So I can also go ahead to say share. For example, let's go to end of year. No, let's go back to salary. And I want to share this folder. Okay, so I have this option for anyone grayed out. So I need to check why that is grayed out. I'm sure you went through the permission levels the other time during the session to see. So this is set to anyone, is set to anyone. Let's go back to this and see. Three, 6, 5. Oof, sorry. Okay, so we can see that the anyone was not checked for this, so I can go and check this to anyone and save. If I go back to my site, I should be able to see the option for the anyone available. So I'll just refresh this. So I will go to salary and then I will say share. So you can see that the option for anyone is now enabled. So basically, you can share to only people in your organization, which is this option. You can share with existing people. So this is administrator. He already has access to this. So maybe I just want to share the link with him, and the owners, they already have access. So maybe I just want to copy the link people you choose, people in my organization, and then anyone with the link. So if I click on this to say share with anyone with the link, and I click on apply, and I copy this link. So I'm going to copy this link and paste it on our chat, and then try to open this link, and everyone can open it, and try to just type anything, and let's see the effect that it makes on this document, like on this folder that we have created. So I'm hoping to see some activities in this file. So if you are able to access, let's see if you are able to type anything. Are we able to access the file? Anybody?
Yes, but it's read only.
Oh, it's read only. Okay, let's see. Let's see why it is read only. Okay, let me try to create another one. Let's see. Okay.
I think you need to change the can view to can edit something, right?
Yeah, I need to do that, but let me delete this one first and see. Okay, so I would
Can view down below. I think anyone can view. You can work on it.
can edit is actually grayed out. So
okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's try something else. Not sure why that is grayed out. Okay. So the anyone link should first allow anybody to be able to open the file. So if you click on it, you should be able to open it. I can see that I already have 92 views on this already. So yes, that is. So if I share with you using any of these other different links, you shouldn't be able to access it, because if I'm doing people can choose, I should be able to tell you, I should be able to add the users we should be able to access this. So if I don't put those users in there, they wouldn't be able to access the file, because your name or your email is not there. So I think that's that. Okay, so last thing we're talking about is versioning. So I'll quickly go into versioning, and then we would be done for today. So versioning, as it says, creates historical record for all changes with date and indication of user who has made changes. So basically, if I had made change to a particular document that I have, it keeps the version of those files or it keeps a version of everything that I have done. So maybe I made a change today and I want to go back tomorrow to the change that I made yesterday. I can easily go back to the previous version. Or if I created a document and I come again tomorrow to open the document and I see that changes have been made, I can go into that document and see the previous version or see who made the newer version of this file. So we'll use this as example. So I created this earlier. Just leave it at that. So let me just refresh this. So from here as well, you can come to library settings, more library settings, and then you have the option here that says versioning settings. So by default, your versions are enabled. You see, you can create major versions of document library. You can create up to 500 versions, but you can say, oh, I don't want to create 500 versions of every file that I create because they also take up your space. So I can say, okay, I just want to create 50 versions of every file, and then I can say, okay. Okay, so it says 100 to 500, so I can say 100 instead and click on OK. So let's come back to accounting and salary. So for now, at this point, this is what we have: January, February, March. So I come here, if I click on, so when you click on a particular folder, you can click on these three dots called the ellipses. We will talk about all these other options later. But for now, what we're talking about is version history. So I can come to version history. I should have at least 2 versions. Okay, you see, I have more than 2 versions. So if I say, okay, I want to restore to the first version the way the file was before I added any change, I can then say restore version and say, okay. So I restored. What does this say? Okay, let's go back and see why I couldn't restore version history. Okay, so let's try to restore this version. Okay, I still have all of this open, so it's best I close them before I try to restore anything. So I will come here again to version history and try to restore this one. You're about to replace the current version with selected version. Okay. So I have restored that version. So let's open the file again and see what we have. So you can see I no longer have the changes that I already made earlier because I have restored to the previous version. So I'm not sure. Okay, let's restore this version before that and open it again. You see, I've restored back to the version that was there. So I think that would be all for today, but I would need you to take 5 minutes. I have a quick quiz for us for everything that we have just done today. I will copy this and paste it on the chat. So please, there are just 6 questions. So let's quickly do this for, let's say, 2 or 3 minutes, and then we can go over to our Q&A. Thank you. Please let me know if you're able to access the form, okay? Are we able to access the form?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so we can quickly do that, and I think over to Joshua. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. That was a wonderful session, guys. So if you think you know SharePoint, I think you've learned something new today, right? Nyore has done justice from the very beginning, from the basics to even somewhat advanced level. So thank you so much, Nyore. So at this point, I don't know if any of us have a question. I can see one hand is up. Just give me a moment. Okay. We're in the question and answer session. So I can see one hand is up. Let me.
There are actually three hands.
Okay, three hands.
Joshua,
Three hands. Well, okay. Let's start from Cheska. Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Well done. Okay, I came in late and I tried getting to my SharePoint. Can you hear me? Yeah?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm not able to get to my SharePoint. What do I do? Yeah? Okay, I did office.com. And how do I navigate to my SharePoint? Can I share my screen and you guide me?
Okay, Nyore.
Sorry?
Yeah, just Nyore, can you go ahead with it?
I can share my screen.
Yes, please. Sorry, my mic was muted. Yes, let's
Okay.
see what you have.
Can you see my screen?
Not okay. Yes.
Okay. So I have this. Yeah. So what do I do?
Click on all apps. Not sure why you don't have SharePoint.
Don't
Yeah,
have
can I come in? Yeah. So basically,
Yes.
this is a family account. This is not a business
Okay.
account,
This is
Madam
not.
Francisca. So you need to get a business account. With a family account, you don't have SharePoint with it. You only have OneDrive. So like earlier in the sessions, we talked about how to create a developer's tenant. So with this personal account, basically, you can access SharePoint. There is no SharePoint for you.
Oh,
You need a
okay. I
business account.
need to use my business account to access.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Oyimafu, you can go ahead now, please. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I don't know if everyone can hear me.
We can.
So,
Good evening. You're welcome.
thank you, Nyore, for this insightful section. So, you dwelled more on permission. So, my question is, if one is trying to assign permission, I saw that you were assigning permission to individuals. Is it best practice we assign those permissions to group, or we should just stick to assigning permissions to individuals? So that's my question.
Okay, thank you. So you can assign permissions to groups, you can assign permissions to individuals, depending on what you want. So for example, if I'm in an organization that has an HR group already created and I want to give them access to a document library, and there are 20 people in HR, or there are even more than 20 people, I already have a group. There's no need giving individual and putting the users individually. I already have a group that is created, I just type in the group the same way I put in members and give them the level of permission that I want to give them. It's basically the same thing, depending on how you want to grant your permission. If there's already a group that is created and you need to grant permissions to the group, why not? You can go ahead and do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Joseph, you can go ahead with your question. Or Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel first.
Okay, hi, Nyore. Nice presentation. So my question is regarding the document versioning.
Okay.
When you were trying to restore from a previous version, I saw like a list. Like, is there like a limit to the number of versions you can have for a document?
So when we went to the versioning settings, you saw that the default we had was 500, right? So you can decide to limit it to, so the versions that are allowed is 100. So you can decide to limit it to 100, and then the maximum is 500 for the default that is being set. But you know that those versions take space in your site, right? So you can decide to reduce it to 100 so that it creates just 100 version. But by default, versioning is enabled on your tenant, so it makes sure that you create versions on your site. But you can also go ahead to say, okay, you don't want to create any version at all. But Microsoft does not really support that. But there are some PowerShell scripts that you can run to say, okay, I don't want to create version, but we don't support it. That's why it is by default that you must have versioning in your site. So yeah, you can reduce it to 100. You can increase it to 500. You can also decide to say you don't want any version by running some commands to disable versioning. I hope
Okay.
that answered you.
Yes, I see that. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, Joseph.
Okay, Nyore, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. I just have something I needed to clear me up. You set permission, you removed permission from everyone in a particular document, but you went ahead to share the same document with everyone, with anyone, right? So what's the impact of that on that document? You know, I just want to get that clarification. If after changing to anyone or sharing the link with anyone now enables even those that do not have permission to, just try to clarify that. Thank you.
Okay, so basically, like I said, so you own your platform, right? You own your document library, so you decide the type of permission that you want it to have. So if I create an Excel sheet and I say it's a salary sheet, and I want to grant only 2 people access to that particular file, right? I can go ahead to say, okay, I want to grant access to just this particular 2 people. So I cannot then go ahead to create an anyone link and share it with everybody. That means what's the need of me granting to only 2 people? So I did that as an example to show you if you are creating an anyone link, you can create an anyone link to a particular file. So instead of you to, let's say I want to create a file and I want to share it to everyone in the organization to just fill a quick questionnaire for me, I can create the anyone link and share. That means I don't have to go into the file itself to grant individual permissions, right? And you should also know that it's only someone that has the link that will be able to access it, even if it is an anyone link. If I don't give you the link, how would you access it, right? So basically depends on what you want. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're creating a file to say, okay, I just want this one person to have access to it, there's no need for you creating an anyone link. I hope that explains better.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so do we have any other question? Okay, so are we done with the quiz?
Let me
Yes, I
check
am.
my responses. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay, I have 10 response. Yeah, if you haven't done that, please let's try to do that.
Okay, Joseph, your hand is still up. Do you have any other question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just have to bring it down. I'm okay.
Okay, Daniel's hand is up again. Daniel, please go ahead.
Hi, so it's regarding the quiz. Are you going to give us the answers before we go?
Hold on. Where is my? Can you guys hear me at all? Can't find my. Okay. Okay, we can quickly do that before we go, since there are just 6 questions, right? Okay, so the first question is, hold on. The first question is, what is a SharePoint site template? So the answer is A, pre-built site with a specific design and functionality, which we saw while we were creating sites. The second question is, what is a SharePoint list? The answer is also A, collection of items such as tasks, contacts that can be used to manage data. A document library is shared for collaborative editing, which is also A. What SharePoint feature allows you to share and collaborate on documents in real time? I don't think we talked about that, but that's co-authoring, and that's why I shared the Excel file, because I wanted us to all, try to access it at the same time and work on the document. What is SharePoint permission level? A collection of permission that can be assigned to users. I think all the answers are actually A. The last one, which SharePoint features allows you to track changes to documents and revert to previous versions? Document versioning, which we also talked about. So yeah, those are the answers. So I just wanted us to, be sure that we understand what we have talked about, and also please, like I mentioned, try to create the different sites and see the templates and how they look like, create permissions, just go around your SharePoint, and yeah, that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Nyore, for the wonderful session today. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time out to be on this session. Thank you to our leaders here. God bless you all. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you so much. And yeah, the session, the video will be made available when it's ready, and then it will be posted in the WhatsApp groups. And you can also always check out the YouTube channel for updates. Thank you guys for your time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Bye, guys.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much
cheers,
for
bye.
joining.
for the presentation.
So you will be here again next week to continue. Thank you.
Okay, guys, bye.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.